Hey, good morning TCM. Today we are going to be working on what's called a Trinity Flip. And the reason it's called a Trinity Flip is because when Matrix came out, there was a person in there named Trinity, and that's the flip she did off the wall. And it's pretty easy. I'm gonna do the one-step version of it, but the two-step version is literally just taking the exact same steps and adding one extra foot on the wall. So I'm gonna be doing the one-step version. I'm teaching you guys that one-step version. But like I said, you can take all of these same steps and just do it with 2 steps on the wall, and that's it. And everything else is the exact same, basically. So stick tuned, watch the whole video, and let's learn this skill together. All right, so the first things first, the thing that you're gonna need to learn how to do is, once again, a side flip. So link in the description down below if you don't know how to side flip. The other skill that you need to learn is a cheat gainer, which I believe I have a link in the description down below for that. I think. Anyway, you don't necessarily have to learn these skills. The side flip you do have to learn. The cheat gainer is a bit optional, but it makes it so much easier to learn how to do this Trinity flip. So I would recommend learning how to do that, because basically you're gonna do your cheat gainer and you're just gonna tap your foot on the wall. And I kid you not, that's literally it. Okay, actually I forgot my tripod, so I gotta go home and do that. I'm gonna grab that real quick. All right, so to start, what you're gonna need to learn how to do with your cheat gainer, if you wanna take that route, which is the route that I recommend because it's gonna make things significantly easier for you, is literally just to start swinging your leg through and just starting there. Now, from this point, if you have seen my cheat gainer tutorial, link in the description down below, then you know I'm gonna tell you just to keep going a little bit more over the side of your shoulder. Now keep in mind, this is gonna be a Trinity flip tutorial, so that's what we're gonna be working on. But from that swing position, all you're gonna do is start to lift. Keep your eye on the wall or the tree or whatever it is. I'm gonna be doing it off of a tree over here because it's a bit slanted, and I think it's gonna make it a bit easier for you guys to learn. So that's where I'm doing it. So we start to swing our leg up, keeping our eye on that tree. We're going to start tapping the tree and almost pushing off of it, but it's just a tap, right? You're not actually planting your foot fully in there, you're just tapping along the way. And then once that starts to happen, you're gonna let your hip ride through. And inside that tuck, you're gonna start to turn your shoulders, turning it sideways, and that shoulder motion with that hip pop is what's gonna give it that side flip look, and that's the whole thing. So let's go over to this tree right over here and take a quick look at this. So one thing that you're gonna notice about me doing it on this tree over here is that I'm actually gonna do it a little bit of a J-step into it. And the reason for that is just so I can get that swing motion that I'm used to. You don't have to do the J-step motion, but I think it helps a lot. Hips here, I'm gonna start pumping through. Sweet. So it's as simple as that, right? And it's just as I had mentioned to you. Now, notice I said the word simple, not easy. Now let's go over a couple of these common mistakes here with these Trinity flips. It's pretty easy to turn it into a wall flip if you don't start turning your shoulders. So make sure you have a lot of control over these shoulders and over the hip lift, because that one side hip lift with the leg swing is what's gonna also really influence the axis of which you're flipping. So here's what I mean by this, right? So I'm just not gonna turn my shoulders, I'm gonna do the exact same setup, and it's just gonna be a wall flip at this point. So the only difference between a Trinity flip and that wall flip, the way that I did the wall flip, is the shoulder turn and the hip pop, which is why it's so important when you're doing the Trinity flip to keep control of your shoulders and your hips. A really easy way to do this is when you allow your leg to swing, to start to pivot your belly button and to turn that hip, and really think of it like you're almost going for a cork almost. And instead of finishing that wrap, you just start to pull into a ball. And that's the way that I like to think of it. But at this point of doing them, I can just start to think about the mentality of like, oh, I'm just doing a Trinity flip. But the cheat gainer is really what sealed the deal for me for learning this trick. Now, when you're trying to go for the 2-foot step, It's the exact same thing. The only difference is you go one, and then your second foot comes up off the wall, and then you tap and flip again. I'm not a big fan of the 2 steps. But as you can see, that's pretty much what it would be. It was just step, step, which is what I was talking about at the start of the tutorial. It's the exact same thing, but you just add the extra step on the wall before you do everything else. All right, so now the second common mistake with this is obviously misplacement of your foot, as we just talked about, or as you just saw. Did I miss I didn't feel my right foot touch at all. Or I didn't see. Anyway, misplacement of the foot. Make sure your foot's not placed too low. If you place it too low on the tree, way down here, you're not gonna get a proper set and your foot's just gonna slide. If you're placing your foot too high, it's actually gonna send you too far out this way. So make sure you get a proper foot placement so everything else can be nice and secure. I really like to place my foot around my hip height, somewhere between my hip to my knee, and that's pretty comfortable to me. And if I jump, then I'm gonna be jumping towards my foot's gonna be going towards my belly button area if I'm doing a jump with it, which with this, I kind of am. But try to find what's comfortable for you, and ultimately that's the thing that matters there the most, is that your foot placement is comfortable with your body. So ultimately, if it is a little bit lower than mine, that's not a big deal. If it's a little bit higher than mine, that's also not a big deal, as long as it's something that's comfortable and you can still perform the skill. Another common mistake is, even though your shoulders are turning, your hips aren't. So you might feel like you're turning your hips. It's really got to be both at the same time, almost. So make sure that you're turning your hips and your shoulders, and that you're spotting the floor for the takeoff and the landing, and that you're spotting the tree where your foot is placing, so you can make sure your foot actually gets to the wall. Yeah. Here's another angle of the Trinity so you can see the backside of it. And that's what we have for today's tutorial. It's a pretty quick one. A lot of these tutorials that are being really short is because the core of the whole thing is just kind of based off of another trick. Obviously this one's based off of a gainer, or of a cheat gainer, and of a side flip. So if you can already do those, this trick doesn't need a lot of explanation. But if you do, go learn those 2 first and make this one significantly easier. I guess one last tip, one last common mistake is that people don't drive their leg hard enough. Really drive the leg, like that swing leg, because I treat it like a swing skill, 100%. Like if I just don't tap the wall, so it might look like I'm lined up with the tree, but I'm behind the tree, so you can't. So if I just don't tap the wall, right? So as you can see, that cheat gainer is literally the same thing as the Trinity flip. The only difference is I just didn't tap the wall. So if you just cheat and tap the wall, it makes the skill a lot easier, and you'll still feel like a solid push off the wall. It's just not gonna, it's absolutely a swing trick. So treat it like a swing trick. Give that leg a hard swing through and be confident with it, because that's the big key to this whole thing. If you like today's tutorial, make sure you give us a like, comment something down below. If you want to learn something different, comment it down below so we can film that out for you. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, because we'll be releasing videos for you guys every Saturday at about 11 a.m. So hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out, because I like doing this for you guys. Yeah, so happy Saturday, train safe.